South Africa stands on the brink of a decision so big, so controversial, that it could reshape the justice system for generations to come. Imagine this for a moment. Every single day, while millions of South Africans struggle to put food on the table, while schools remain underfunded and clinics run out of medicine, 11 million rand disappears into prison walls. And here's the twist. That money isn't even being spent on South African citizens. It is being spent on foreign nationals locked up in our prisons. More than 24,000 prisoners who don't belong to this country are currently sitting in cells. That's not just a number. It's the size of an entire city. The cost is staggering, and the implications go far beyond money. This isn't only about overcrowding or wasted resources. It's about politics, international law, and the burning question: should South Africa foot the bill for foreign criminals, or send them back to serve their time in their own countries? A plan being discussed right now could save billions. But it could also ignite one of the biggest diplomatic and human rights battles in the nation's history. Make no mistake, this is not just a prison story. It's about the very soul of South Africa's justice system. Right now, as you watch this, more than 24,000 foreign nationals are sitting behind bars in South African prisons. Stop for a moment and picture this crowd in real life. Imagine a football stadium filled to capacity, not with cheering fans, but with prisoners in orange uniforms. That's the reality of our correctional system. And here's the part that shocks the most. Every single day, every sunrise and sunset, South Africa spends 11 million rand to feed, guard, and lock up these inmates. By the time you finish watching this, millions will already have vanished from the public purse, money drawn from taxpayers' pockets. Extend that cost over a year and the figures explode into the billions. Billions that could build schools in rural towns where children still walk barefoot for education. Billions that could fund hospitals and clinics so that no mother loses a child because medicine ran out. Billions that could repair roads, expand electricity networks, or finally provide roofs for families who have waited decades for proper housing. Instead, all that potential disappears into concrete walls and iron bars, spent on people who aren't even citizens of this country. This has become a crisis of priorities, and South Africa must now decide how long it can carry this burden. Enter Correctional Services Minister Peter Groenewald and the Department of Home Affairs, with a proposal that has electrified the nation. On paper, it seems simple: send foreign prisoners back home to serve their time in their own countries. If your family, your loyalty, your roots are not in South Africa, why should South African taxpayers bear the crushing cost of housing and feeding you year after year? Imagine the difference. Instead of vanishing into a crowded South African cell, these offenders would be returned to their own justice systems and prison walls. The math is transformative. Billions saved. Pressure relieved. Space inside prisons freed for rehabilitation programs that could finally focus on South Africa's own sons and daughters, the young men who can still turn their lives around, the fathers who dream of reuniting with their families. For the first time in years, rehabilitation could become more than a theory. But the idea comes with a catch. Overcrowding is not just a budget issue. It is a silent crisis. To understand why this proposal is gaining ground, you must step into South Africa's suffocating prisons. Cells built for 10 men now hold 15. Metal bunks stacked high, mattresses spread across damp floors, air heavy with sweat and despair. Guards are outnumbered, sometimes one officer to dozens of hardened criminals. In such chaos, violence is never far away. Fights over food, stabbings in the dark, and an atmosphere that makes rehabilitation impossible. Now picture 24,000 inmates removed from this mix. Suddenly the system breathes again. Yet, reality is never that simple. You cannot just dump human beings like cargo at another country's border. For the plan to work, treaties must be signed with nations such as Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Malawi, and Nigeria. These agreements would guarantee that prisoners continue serving their sentences. Without such treaties, the risk is terrifying. Imagine a murderer stepping off a plane and walking free the same day. International law adds another barrier. Human rights treaties prohibit sending prisoners to conditions worse than they left. If activists prove that deportees would face torture, starvation, or abuse, courts can block deportations. And yet, the first test has already happened. In October 2024, 3 foreign nationals serving life sentences were paroled and deported, 2 to Mozambique, 1 to Zimbabwe. There was no chaos, no legal disaster, no international backlash. It worked. Now picture that scaled from 3 to 24,000. The financial savings would be astronomical. The relief inside prisons would be transformational. It would not just ease pressure, it could redefine the entire correctional system. But critics are pushing back. Some foreign governments are hesitant. Why, they ask, should they inherit criminals who committed their crimes on South African soil? Others warn of diplomatic fallout, accusing South Africa of offloading its problems. Human rights groups are already preparing legal challenges, arguing that justice has no nationality. If South Africa convicts someone, they say, it must also pay the price. Still, the brutal truth remains. How long can South Africa bleed 11 million rand every single day? How long can taxpayers endure this while classrooms remain underfunded, clinics overcrowded, and jobs scarce? The debate is no longer just about deportation. It is about priorities. It is about whether South Africa will finally put its own citizens first. And this matters far beyond South Africa. Other nations are watching closely, from Europe to Asia, where overcrowded prisons and foreign inmates are also major challenges. If South Africa succeeds, the plan could become a global model, proof that bold reforms can save billions and restore balance to broken systems. But if it fails, the chaos will not remain contained. Overcrowding will deepen, budgets will collapse further, and political instability will spread. So here we are. The ball is in South Africa's court. Will the nation take the leap and deport foreign prisoners en masse? Or will it remain trapped in the same cycle of overcrowded prisons, wasted billions, and broken promises? One thing is certain. The decision made in the coming months will shape the future of South Africa's justice system forever. Because this debate is not only about criminals behind bars. It is about sovereignty. It is about identity. And most of all, it is about the kind of country South Africa chooses to become.